What's up, and welcome to the Dynasty Happy Hour with your hosts, Doug Eddy, Tim Keller, and Tyler Gunther. Bring us all inside the huddle. Whether it's in season or off season, this is your spot for the best and in-depth Dynasty fantasy football advice. So let's not waste any more time and get right to it with Doug, Tim, and Tyler with another Dynasty Happy Hour.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? We are here, and we are going to bring you some heat. And yes, by heat, I mean a super flex rookie mock draft. You know what? I want to thank PTW for coming on. I want to thank True North, our friends from Beyond the Border. Of course, I'm from Minnesota. I'm Tyler. You can find me on Twitter at DHH_Tyler. And you know what? I've got a crew, almost like the Mystery Machine Scooby-Doo style of crew. We've got a ragtag bunch. We've got, of course, you guys know him from Dynasty Happy Hour. We got Tim at DHH Tim. We got Shane Manila. Yes, Shane is the worst. You can find him on Twitter. And we got Wes, who's a part of this whole entire group here at Fantasy PTS. It's a great group. Wes, I'm going to give you the floor after I introduce our next guest, and that is Bob Gilchrist. You guys all know him. He's pretty much everywhere. He's the Twitter friendly neighbor, we would like to say. But Wes, here, I'm new here. Why don't you explain to the people what everybody can enjoy at Fantasy Points?
Well, first of all, the toilet is my daughter, my 4-year-old, not me. So I am
not until you pick, not until you make a draft pick.
No toilet sounds for a little while. So at Fantasy Points, we just released our draft guide. The money is just, who cares? $25 you get Greg Cosell and his 40-50 years of experience of breaking down athletes and just doing his magic, looking at stuff and providing insights that you can't put a price on. And I've provided some of my insights on the 2022 prospects coming in, the Debbie guys, and you also get, of course, our rankings. You get our we did a mock draft for you with the staff, so definitely check that out. Definitely, we got an app and everything. It's definitely 100% cool. So definitely check that out, and it's worth your time. But as far as the draft, I'm looking forward to this. We got some super flex going on, and I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. So let's dive in here, right?
Yeah, it's going to be great. And if nobody knows what's going on here, this is Fantasy Points Media Group. We got a bunch of podcasts to join. Dynasty Happy Hour is one of them. I am very happy to join this group. Ben, who's kind of running everything. He's the Wizard of Oz in the back behind the curtain, doing everything. I want to give him a shout out and putting everything together. But you guys, after all this, I'm going to explain to you what we got after us. I mean, we are great, all of us, but there is going to be great shows after us. I know we might peak, but these guys are still going to be okay. Now, I just want to go around the table and say what's up. Bob, welcome in. Do you want to tell the audience anything?
Tell them, what would you like me to tell them?
You tell me. I mean, I feel like you're better at typing words on Twitter than you are talking on a mic.
Absolutely. I am terrible with the mic, and pulling me into these kind of things is just taking me out of my comfort zone. And John Bosch likes to do that. You like to do it, and so does Matt Donnelly at the Dynasty Vipers and Chase at Fantasy Intervention. Everyone likes to try to pull me onto these things, and I am just not. I'm not the guy for that. I'll make you a picture. I'll type it out for you, but this kind of thing really is not my thing.
Now, I do know somebody who is very good at talking and is a better talker than he is on Twitter. That is Shane. Shane, how are you tonight?
Wait, I'm a better talker than I am on Twitter?
Yeah, you're a sweet talker.
Yeah, that's me. I'm definitely sweet and cuddly on Twitter. I'm good, man. I'm ready to rock out on this super flex. Ready to overdraft a particular player if he lands to me. Excited to be on the show with you guys tonight, and excited for you guys to join Fantasy Points. That's pretty awesome for you guys.
Yeah, it's great. And now my co-host that I see every week, a dear friend of mine, Tim, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Tyler. It's exciting to be part of this rookie mock. You jumped in here first, stole that 101. So yeah, no Trevor Lawrence for me, obviously, but I took the 2 spot, so I'll get my guy, even though you're going to take the top dog.
That is true, and I know who your guy is, and I'm going to completely disagree with it. But you know what? Let's get this draft started, you guys. Let's begin the thing we were meant to, be doing here and what everybody's here for. Now, I'm picking 101, and of course, it's super flex. It's non-tight end premium. It's a 12-team league. This is an easy selection for me, and I'm just going to go with it. And if I could find where the draft button is, that would be great. So yeah.
The little plus symbol, I believe.
I'm clicking the plus. There it is. Yep. Bingo.
There it is. Look at that.
See it. I'm not the brains of this operation. That's Tim. And yeah, I'm just the looks, the red beard, I'm just the looks. All right. We got Tim up next at 102. Now, pause. I'm going to pause after each round, and then we could talk about it, but you can kind of talk about your pick too as you're doing it.
Obviously, if I had the shot at Trevor, I'd take him here, but he's not getting past 101 in Superflex draft. So I will go with my QB2 in this class, and that is the kid from BYU, Mr. Zach Wilson. Put him on the board. Let's go.
I don't think nobody told the computer that this was a
Superflex.
I did put it on 2 quarterback settings, so they do know. Maybe they're not like me. Maybe they're like me. Maybe they're the beauty of sleeper, and they're not the brains.
They're just high on Najee Harris. That's all.
Look, it's fine if they want Najee Harris, but they probably should have traded back to get some additional assets.
Get back to that 105.
Are we starting to talk trades, Shane? What do we got?
I mean, so here's the thing right here, right? It's super flex. So I don't have a choice. I have to do this. And it really, hopefully, I hope a lot of people are watching this for your sake, Tyler, but I hope none of them are watching it that have heard me profess my love for Kyle Pitts, because I'm going to have to go Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right. I mean, the funny thing is it's non-tight end premium, so
it wouldn't matter.
It's a smart pick in my eyes.
I have a feeling Trey Lance may land. Or
Shane, if Fields were to go at 3, like he normally probably will in a super flex draft, you think 4 is the spot?
Yeah,
the tight end.
I'm taking Kyle Pitts right there.
Yep.
I don't care if it's tight end premium or not. The guy's barely a tight end. He's a tight end as much as I'm a tight end.
I don't know, man. He 22 bench presses. He's a little stronger than a lot of people think. He can get in there in line and get dirty.
I'm loving the fact that of the rumors of that. I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, and there's rumors that if Atlanta passes on a quarterback, you know what's happening? They're taking Pitts at 4. And if that happens, you are going to see a grown man cry because I'm going to be so pumped. And it's just going to make me want
back to 5 and let somebody else take a quarterback.
That's true.
You do have a great chance of that because of the contract with Matt Ryan. There is absolutely no way they can take a quarterback and try to move him.
That's
or trade
true. Yeah.
Him.
Now, Bob, you are up.
They can't cut him. I am up, and I mean the pick is obvious.
Yeah.
I mean the pick is right here for Kyle Pitts.
I think he's pulling a Minnesota. Okay, I was gonna say I think he might pull a Minnesota Vikings and just let the clock run, and then miss out on Terrell Suggs. We all know how that worked.
Oh, you clocked us too?
It's a 2-minute clock. Yeah.
Jeez.
All right, now let me pause the draft, and we'll talk about the first round. All right, so the first round, it went Trevor Lawrence, and I'm going to talk about Trevor Lawrence. It's a slam dunk. I mean, 101, you don't really need to talk about Trevor Lawrence. He is an Andrew Luck style prospect. I do worry about Jacksonville as a team and how they run their organization. that's fine because Trevor Lawrence is still going to be fine. And in a super flex, everybody here knows in a super flex, quarterback is king. Once you get a quarterback on your team, their value immediately rises to an insane amount. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going in first rounds in startups right now. And to me, like that value is there for you to take. I mean, if you were to go with the Zach Wilson because you like his landing spot more, I can see it maybe, but I'm not a Zach Wilson guy. But I will talk to the person who is a Zach Wilson guy, and that is Tim, who took him at 102.
Well, yeah, Zach Wilson was my pick at 102 this past year there at BYU. Completed over 70% of his passes, career yardage of 7,652 yards. This kid athletically can get out of the pocket, get out of trouble, extend the plays, make all the throws he needs to make, off balance, off that regular base that a normal quarterback needs to have in order to make these passes. The kid shows minor flashes of a little bit of Mahomes there. He's not going to be Mahomes, I don't think, but he does things that Mahomes does at a smaller level. So I really like what I see out of Mr. Zach Wilson. He's been going to a quarterback guru now for a few years. Listened to a podcast the other day where they were interviewing him. They said he's one of these guys that if they show him something or they start working on a throw that he can't make, all he does is work on that one tool until he's got it. That's exactly what I love in a quarterback. He's going to go into New York. Everything says the Jets are taking him there too. He's going to go in with that same mindset, and he's just going to work his tail off to be the best possible quarterback he can be. So I'll take him here too in the Superflex draft as well.
Yeah, and then the next pick is Najee Harris, and I think we all can agree that was not a great pick by the computer. So we can all shame him for picking Najee Harris at 3.
Why do we just assume it's a man?
Okay,
it could have been a woman that made that stupid pick.
Let's just say it's Sipes.
Yeah, it was probably Sipes. He fell asleep.
Sipes, who is the host with Shane. But no, Shane, let's talk about your pick in Justin Fields. Where do you think he actually lands in the NFL? Are you somebody who is going to think he goes to Sam Fran, or do you think that's a Trey Lance, who we will talk about later in this draft?
I legitimately don't know. I mean, if he makes it to Carolina, sweet. That'd be great. If all the talking heads out there talk themselves into circles and convince themselves that that's how far he should fall, and he somehow falls to there, I'd be stoked. I don't even want to get into all the stuff around him, but he's so good. It's ridiculous. Like, he's been the second best quarterback since, with Sunshine, behind Sunshine.
Yeah, since they came out. I mean,
Right.
They were 1A, 1B. If you go to 24/7 Sports, their rating is 99.9 and 99.8. They're almost identical. They're slam dunk prospects, and I do agree with all the stuff that's surrounding Fields. I think it's kind of unfair to him and the work ethic type of things. And you think about it, Big Ten was in a scenario where they weren't going to play. And who pushed them playing?
Yeah.
It was Fields. All you saw was him promoting, hey, let's get Big Ten playing again. Let's get this going. And he didn't have to do that. He could have just sat back and just worked for the combine or the NFL. And he didn't. He wanted to play some college football. And that, to me, shows work ethic. And
here's the scary thing. Everyone saw him running without his shirt, right? Like, if that's not work ethic, what would he look like if he put work in? Because that would be frightening. That dude is an absolute unit.
I mean, I'm sure Ben would be against it, but I could take my shirt off and we could see what non-work ethic looks like. But yeah, I think that's a great pick. I love Fields. He's still my 2 at quarterback. We have Travis Etienne. We have another running back going off, and Jamar Chase with his 4.38, which every LSU player seems to be running on their pro day. And next we have everybody's darling. I love Kyle Pitts, and Bob knows that. And I sniped him once, but I had 101 here, so he couldn't have the pleasure of sniping me. So he went Pitts. Now tell us why you went Pitts at 7 in a non-super flex, or in the non-tight end premium.
In the all right, that makes more sense. I mean, the dude's a monster. I mean, he's going the 4th tight end off the board in startups right now.
That's insane. That is insane.
It really, I mean, the amount of hype and everything. I mean, there's probably no way he lives up to it, but I don't want to miss out. I mean, he ran the 40 in what, 4.4, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I mean, his vertical's 34 inches. He's a monster.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably hope that the vertical would be better, but with how big he is and his arm length, you don't need to jump.
Yeah, he's got the wingspan of a condor.
A pterodactyl.
The longest in 20 years, right? And I think that's what they said.
You legit put him in a room with some breakables. He's going to destroy that whole entire room because, I mean, he can't really move around with that wingspan. So, yeah, I'm all for Pitts. Wes, I kind of want to hear your opinion. You got a video on Fantasy Points YouTube, which you all should hit subscribe right now. Wes does great videos and just things with the prospects. I've looked at a couple of them. Of course, I looked at Pitts because I am a huge fan of Pitts. So, Wes, you explain to us what you see in Kyle Pitts.
From what I saw, I mean, he's, in my opinion, the greatest college tight end that we've seen on film. So let's, looking at the tight end position, though, you got to understand that we're looking that a lot of guys that we've seen produce at the NFL level, they didn't produce as much in college. So, and that's common with the tight end position. It takes a while to develop. But Pitts, I mean, if you trace him back to high school, dude's only been playing tight end for like 5 years. He played for 2 different high schools, and at his previous stop, he was a quarterback, and they wanted him to play quarterback. So, I mean, this guy's only been playing for a few. It's just ridiculous, phenomenal what this guy's been able to do in the few years that he's been playing the position. And don't expect him to be playing wide receiver. This guy wants to play tight end. And one of the reasons he wants to play tight end is, this guy's going to go down in history as one of the best. And now I know I can't say that just from college production, from some athletic measurements, but he's the kind of guy that's going to come in and rewrite the script for what a tight end is supposed to be. But I also want to just chime in a little bit on Justin Fields, because, man, you walked away with a steal at 1.4, Shane. That the Fields is, I mean, he's beyond what everyone is thinking. I'm going to crack up laughing when the Jets pick Justin Fields. I do like Zach Wilson. I think he's definitely going to be an NFL starter, but I think we need to kind of hit the brakes a little bit on the, looking at what he's actually done, because look at what he faced in 2020. It was a bunch of group of 5 defenses. Now, I'm not saying that he's not ready for the NFL. I'm just saying that he's not what everyone is expecting him to be just yet, But anyway, jumping to Trey Lance. I love this guy. He's bleeding athleticism. Of course, he's not the kind of guy that's going to be passing, with great accuracy beyond 20 yards just yet. He's got some work to do there. But the guy, I mean, he I think scored 41 touchdowns, or he was responsible for 41 touchdowns, 0 turnovers in 2019. And, of course, whatever happened in 2020, it was a disaster. The bandwagon was fully behind him, but he rushed for over 1,200 yards and a super flex. I love snapping him up with the 12th pick. Obviously, I'm not going to get him at the 12th pick if we're not drafting with, 7 computer guys, but I definitely love him at 12. If this were a snake draft, I'd be coming back with Mac Jones. So I'd be killing it in a super flex.
Yeah. Trey Lance at 112 is probably never going to happen, but I love the pick. I have Trey Lance at quarterback 3 behind Fields. Yeah. I'm kind of with you on the Zach Wilson train. I saw a lot of throws that, Jalen Ramsey might snag and a lot of corners would probably get, but I don't know. I mean, he's a quarterback and it's super flex. So
let me throw this out there. What would happen if we took Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, we put them on BYU and we let them face a group of 5 defenses all year?
80 touchdowns, no picks.
Oh, I went with 113.
I mean, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be. Yeah, the defenses he played last year were basically like extra high school. They were like 13th grade.
The toughest he faced was Coastal Carolina, and he had some struggles. So yeah, I'm with you, Tim. I trust you and your evaluations with players. So every time Tim was to say I like him, I always had to go back and watch a couple of videos of him, and always had to be like, am I missing something? So there's a part of me because of Tim that's like, maybe there's something there, but I'm not going to put him ahead of those 3. Yeah, I mean, we had Devontae Smith at 108. We had Javonte Williams, a fast riser at 109, Jalen Waddle at 110, and Rashad Bateman, who measured in at 6 foot. Very shocking to me. 190. I honestly think he did 190 to be faster in the 40. I personally think he probably is 200, 205 type player in season. But Bateman, I still love him. I love his routes. And the fact that he ran a 4.39 to me just vaulted his price up. So yeah, I'm okay with those picks, but there is one pick I'm going to take in the second round. And Wes, you kind of mentioned him before, and let me find him. You gotta love this. Yeah.
Go to your find players tab, type his name in.
You find him.
You're just cleaning us up here with the quarterbacks, aren't you?
That's not fair.
That's a no-brainer.
That is a no-brainer. And I'll kind of mention why once we all pick. Tim is up at 202. It's gonna be interesting.
I did want to add though, I don't think Zach Wilson is a bad pick. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I'm just not as excited about him when people are picking him over Justin Fields. That's all I'm saying.
I completely agree. Shane, you going to go with Kellen Mond, who's a popular name now?
I want to complain about the computer because there's no way you should walk out of here with Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones. It's not fair. No, I'm going to draft, since I couldn't get Kyle Pitts, I'm going to draft baby Gronk.
Okay, we had a couple quarterbacks. Yeah, and we got Bob up.
Well, I just got snaked by the computer.
How does that feel when we've been complaining about the computer?
Yeah, well, I mean, I really thought Gainwell was going to fall to me. So it looks like I'm going to have to pivot and take Michael Carter.
That's a good pick.
Oh, Chubba.
Yeah.
All right, Wes, we got you at the 212. I mean, the computer made some smart picks this round, except for 210, which we'll talk about. Yeah, I don't see it with him. The computer has made some smart picks.
Yeah, the computer Shane says there, that one was pretty good.
Ooh, the 212 pick is definitely a steal in my opinion.
I didn't say it. Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna go ahead and we'll kind of revisit this round again. At 201, I picked Mac Jones. No brainer, quarterback value in Superflex. I think we can all agree here. He's gonna probably be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I would like to say I want to calm down on, I know recently on a draft podcast, I won't say from a big organization, they mentioned that Joe Burrow and Mac Jones have some similarities. And I've got to say, let's not do that. Let's just not.
They both have arms.
They both have arms and they both play college. So that's probably their comparisons. Yeah, in the SEC. But yeah, Mac Jones is a fine pick at 201. His value, of course, in the Superflex is going to skyrocket afterwards. Where do you think he would go in a non-AI draft? Like Shane, in UDPL, which is a industry league. Where do you think he would land in that league?
He's going to go 104, 105. He's going to be, I mean, you can't pass up quarterbacks right now in super flex leagues, not with their current ADP, man. We're drafting them early, often. I mean, Daniel Jones is going in the 4th round in some leagues. Like, come on now. Mac Jones.
Drew Lock last year was going in the 4th. I remember that.
Yeah. So, knowing what the landscape looks like, quarterbacks, this is the cheapest I'm going to be able to get them is during this rookie draft. And I don't even like Mac Jones even a little bit. I'm still drafting him at 105 because he's still better than probably what I think he is. He's going to end up in a decent situation. So yeah, 105, 106, maybe if, one of the top 2 guys picking is completely set at quarterback and he can't trade out.
Yeah. And you mentioned quarterback value, and I've got to say, for me, if I were to do a startup, because running backs are so fickle and running backs just seem like they fall so quickly. For me, if I'm in a startup, even with everybody on the board, I'm going quarterback. And then if there's a good tight end available, get a tight end, and then just fill it with everything else, just because quarterback values stay. I mean, Deshaun Watson is on the hot seat, and I still think he has significant value in Superflex. I mean, I've asked the question a couple times on Twitter, and there's people still getting a first plus for him. And
can you make that offer to me in that, as we previously mentioned, UDPL up, because I would like to move him for a first plus, please.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. I've got Ryan Fitzpatrick. I got all the quarterback I need in that league. So yeah, quarterbacks are king, and we will move on to pick 202. That is Terrace Marshall, a surprise pick. Tim, I don't remember you being this high on him, but I'm intrigued.
I did. I was kind of middle of the road on Terrace. When I first watched his film, when we did our film breakdowns, I had only watched a handful of games. I went back and revisited him. 23 touchdowns over the past 2 years. Chase opts out 2020. So, the alpha dog there's gone. So all the attention was on Terrace, and he still produced in the 7 games. He scored 10 touchdowns this year. I will openly admit the computer and then Shane, I had 3 guys that I was really debating with Baby Gronk, Rondell Moore, and Terrace Marshall here. After that pro day down at LSU, he run a 4.38 or something like that. He measured in at 205, 19 on the bench, almost 6'3". With that height, weight, and he's running at that speed, I would have liked to see a 3-cone out of him, but I'll take the production in college at LSU, that athleticism he showed at the pro day, and hope he can keep it going at the next level. So, obviously the next pick, the computer made a great pick there with Rondell Moore. Absolute freak show at his pro day. And then, you can't hate Pat Fairmouth. I mean, he does everything you want a tight end to do, plus some. So I think these next 3 picks are real good.
I think the official was a 4.4. What I was really impressed with Marshall is that he put up 19 bench presses with 33-inch arms.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He's another pterodactyl type player. The wingspan is becoming a big difference. It doesn't matter if you're 6 foot, 6'1". If you got a wingspan, you're going to be able to go up and get that ball, especially with some strong hands. Rondell Moore at 203. We talked about him. He destroyed his pro day. 5'7". That's a little worrisome.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little small. I could see a Randall Cobb type career out of him. And that's probably best case scenario, but he needs to land with a good quarterback to really jumpstart his career. Now, Pat Fairmouth, let's talk about him. I love this tape. Him and Pitts are a lot closer than I think people realize, and how I feel. The dude is a Mark Andrews clone to me. He just jumps off the page when he's got the ball in his hands. Shane, tell me about Pat Fairmouth.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be doing a write-up on him on a DLF this week. But first I did Pitts, so of course I'm fawning over Pitts. It's almost unfair that they're in the same class because Freiermuth is really good. And in any other class, he's probably the tight end 1. And entering the year, he was neck and neck with Pitts. He's a complete tight end. He's not going to be lining up as a wide receiver as much as Pitts. which is fine. I mean, yeah, Mark Andrews isn't a bad comp. That's not a bad thing to be. It's just that Pitts could be Travis Kelce. So, but still, Mark, if you can get a Mark Andrews type of production out of Freiermuth, which maybe the Colts, I keep pulling for the Colts to draft them. Maybe we could see that in year one. But yeah, I like him a lot. I liked him. Like I said, if it wasn't for Pitts, I think he'd easily be the one in this class, and he'd be the one in last year and probably the year before that too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Pitts has got a Hall of Fame jacket in the mail already, so that's kind of the path he's taken. The next tight end taken is Brevin Jordan at 205, an athletic tight end that had some pretty good production and some hype throughout the years. Kenneth Gainwell, who the computer sniped Bob, is a great pass catching back. And man, when he ran his 40 in his pro day, I loved everything I saw out of Gainwell. Let's go on to Bob's pick at 207. Now explain your pick with Tariq Cohen plus type of player.
I think he's a little bit better than Tariq Cohen. He's definitely not quite. He's not as fast, I believe. I think
Can he do a backflip? That's my main question. That's all that really matters. I'm gonna have to
reach out to sources on that. I'm gonna have to reach out. He's going right around 10th round right now in startups. So I know he's a long shot to become anything, but there has been quite a lot of talk about his hands. I don't know how anyone else feels about him.
Yeah, Wes, have you done a write-up on Michael Carter by chance?
I have not actually.
Okay.
I just keep getting pulled to work on other players, but I have ran the numbers on him, and I am impressed. He's definitely bigger than a Tariq Cohen at 201 pounds, so not the best comp. But so and even at his diminutive size, I think he can play some additional snaps that Cohen would, and he's got the hands, of course, with a 98th percentile short shuttle. So, this guy 90th percentile 3-cone. This is a guy that can that's got some footwork that can help his team. And I know my guy John Hansen, he loves Michael Carter. So I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah. My film notes, I had him as one of my most fun players to watch, and agility was his calling card. This guy can get, side to side, make the guy miss, and then still get back up to speed real quick. He's a fun watch.
He reminds me, I was just at a zoo the other day. He reminds me of a prairie dog. I mean, just zip, 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 right in the hole. He can run between the tackles, and that quickness really helps. He's got great vision, good hands. He's definitely going to find a spot in the NFL. And I think we all can agree the NFL is going away from that true bell cow style of running backs. They're going multiple backs, and he's definitely going to find a spot on a roster. And another running back that has a spot on a roster is Chuba Hubbard, who with his pro day, I mean, he ran a 4.4. That was disappointing to me because I heard about this Olympic speed. I thought he was going to run a 4.3, but I mean, still good numbers at his pro day. I still think he's going to be a value in rookie drafts, and at 208, that is value. One of my favorite players in rookie drafts, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 209. I'm just in love with the St. Brown family. I was an Equinemius St. Brown fan, and I will forever stay on that hill, and I will die on that hill forever. It's tough. Amon-Ra hopefully is the player that I wish Equinemius was going to be, and for me, he seems like he's going to be. Anybody else have anything to say about these players? Just chime in and stop me from talking. I just want to let you know.
I thought Chuba ran a 4.38 at one point. I saw about 36 different times on Twitter for Hubbard, and I
heard it was a 3.6.
Yeah, at one point I could have sworn someone put out 4.5, and I was like, that's not right unless he fell down.
That can't be right. Yeah.
But at that spot, I'll take him, and I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. First of all, because of his name, because that was literally the first thing when you play Devy, you're like, oh, this kid's got to be good coming out of high school with a name like that.
Yeah.
He's probably going to get drafted on the second day. I don't know if he's ever going to be a wide receiver 1 in the league, but I think he's going to be a very good wide receiver 2. I like him a lot. I mean, he shared the field with Pittman, and he did well, and he got better every year. I don't know that he's a superstar in any one aspect, but I think he's going to be a really solid wide receiver in the league.
He reminds me a lot of Chris Godwin coming out of Penn State. He's still got some things he can kind of smooth out, the edges to smooth out. But man, if he does get that done, he's going to be a very good player in the right offense. And that is Amon-Ra St. Brown I'm talking about. The next pick, 210, I dislike completely Trey Sermon. I think he is just a guy in the NFL. I don't know how you guys feel about Trey Sermon.
I love Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon, it's he's dealt with some injuries, but my guy Dr. Edwin Porras, he's looked at every one of those, and they were all gimmicky injury. Well, just wrong place, wrong time types injuries where anybody would fall into that situation. He did his best to show his multidimensional talents at Oklahoma. And, when he felt like it was time for him to get a featured role, of course, the way Oklahoma recruits, they just kept adding these gap heavy running backs, Kennedy Brooks, Ramondre Stevenson, guys that they would play for anybody. Right. And so when, Sermon just kind of took a step back and looked at his situation, I want to land in a situation where I can show my abilities, and I want to do it, with a heavy workload. He goes to Ohio State. Of course, Master Teague had just had an Achilles injury. And so he's thinking, oh, here it is. Here's my chance playing for a top program. And then the COVID hit, and there was a several month delay, or just a delay on the start of the season. It gave Teague some time to recover from his injury, who's an athletic freak, by the way, and had already had time in the Ohio State system. So Sermon, he was dealing with, trying to get that featured role with Master Teague, and that's easier said than done. But then, when Teague went down in the Northwestern game, and even the week prior at Michigan State, we saw what he could do. And it sucks that he went down first carry of the Alabama game. Not that I think they could have beat Alabama, but I think we're seeing him at least go for 100 yards in that game, and that's impressive. I think going up against an Alabama team. But anyway, so here's the thing: Sermon he's got everything. He's got receiving ability that wasn't really tapped into. He's also in my opinion, the top blocking back in the draft in the class, and we saw his explosiveness at his pro day. Excuse me. So I think Sermon's going to surprise some people when he lands on his NFL team.
Yeah, I agree with Wes. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was going to say I have him in my top 5 for running backs in this class. He's one of the best all around backs. He can run with power. He's got better than average speed. I think he doesn't get enough credit for the elusiveness he does have. Wes mentioned it. He can catch. In my notes, I have him as the best blocking running back in this class. And again, Wes hit on this. It took time for him to grow behind that offense there in Ohio State because he was new to the program. There was no off season due to the pandemic. And like he said, Master Teague came back. And guess what? If there's no off season, you got this guy that knows the system. Yeah, we're going to lean on him a little bit, and we're going to start to bring in, Trey Sermon slowly and surely. Once he got that feature role, though, Trey Sermon looked like a man built for the NFL, and I look forward to watching him on Sundays.
Yeah, you guys can have him. That's what I'll say.
I'll take it too.
Yeah,
everybody likes him, but you, especially
he's so stiff to me. He's just stiff.
Oh, man.
I'm not a
here's
fan.
the thing: 1.49 10-yard split. Only one other running back in this class as top Sermon in the 10-yard split. His explosion off the handoff.
Did you say top sirloin or top Sermon?
I'll take either.
I was going to say I'll take one.
Yeah, I'll take a sirloin for sure. But Trey Sermon, yeah, I mean, the explosion off of the handoff is something that is really special that you're not going to see with a 4.57 40 time. I love Trey Sermon. I've got him above Javonte, but it's really close. I'm neck and neck between the two. I just don't. What I'm really trying to say though is Sermon is a guy that a lot of people are going to sleep on, and then I'm going to come in and clean up in all my drafts.
And then, I'll just enjoy you holding a roster spot for the next 4 years with Trey Sermon on it. Just hoping and hoping.
I'm going to hold you accountable to that, Tyler.
I am no scout, but yeah, I just didn't like what I saw. But the player ahead of him, I did. Kylan Hill at 211. I'd rather have him. But the player you took at 212 is, my God, a steal. Come on, at 212. Let's talk about your pick.
There was no choice. I mean, it was, I mean, you're not going to get Elijah Moore with the 24th pick in a rookie draft here. I mean, come on, he's going to go, probably, I would say in the first round. I mean, after the quarterbacks go early and people are going to be snapping him up. But I mean, we're talking 99th percentile athleticism. This guy is ridiculous. Now, this is a really strong slot receiver class. So, you're going to see a lot of teams coming in and choosing their guy. And it's probably going to be after Waddle. He didn't participate in the Alabama Pro Day. Who did? Right. But, Elijah Moore, man, I love this guy. He's lightning in a bottle. Coming out, he didn't give us pre-college athletic measurements, so we didn't really know what to expect. And he wasn't even a big part of the offense there at St. Aquinas. But man, when he got to Ole Miss, even when they had John Reese Plumlee at quarterback, which is an elite rushing quarterback, but he's not the kind of guy that you're going to be that impressed by his arm, right? But Elijah Moore, he still produced. And man, I love what he did when Kiffin came to town. He just, everyone knew that offense was just going to blow up. He's great at putting his playmakers into space, and Elijah Moore did not disappoint. This kid is, he's next level. He's everything that everyone wants Rondale Moore to be, but what we're talking about, 2.5 inches taller. So, and without the injury history. So I love me some Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that pick, and he is definitely the early second type of a pick in a super flex draft. I absolutely love that pick. Now, I have been looking at the available players, and I'm having a hard time here. This to me is going to be tough. I've got a couple players in mind. I'm not a fan of a couple, but I think I would probably get tomatoes thrown at me if I were to pick one player by Tim.
Can I ask you, are we looking at this as definitely, I mean, I think the one thing we need to throw out there is that, we're doing a Dino rookie draft without knowing our NFL rosters. So it's just kind of like something to throw out there, make sure everybody's aware that, you would normally come into a rookie draft knowing what positions you need to kind of, tighten up.
Yep. And I'll piggyback off that. In the first round, draft best player available. It doesn't matter needs or anything, best player available. I've drafted for needs and I've really messed up in years past, but yeah, definitely draft best player available. And if you can't trade back, draft them because you'll be able to trade them afterwards. I mean, it's not like you can't trade them after, but yeah, I think the hardest part with this here is not knowing draft position and kind of the round they're drafted in.
Landing spot, yeah.
Usually that's not going to burn you too bad. But sometimes when you're drafting in a league with Scott Barrett and Graham Barfield that you're in and you draft Hakeem Butler at like 103, and then a month later he doesn't get picked until the 18th round of the NFL draft, then that really hurts. But sorry.
What would his hype have been if he had come into the draft as a tight end?
Yeah, and also Lamar Jackson.
We were all high on him.
Lamar Jackson at wide receiver or running back. I agree. All right, I picked at 301. I picked Oklahoma State's Tylan Wallace. I just love the overall game he has. Tim is up at 302. He's probably in the same position as me. I mean, we're getting to the point where we're kind of picking our guys.
Yeah, we are definitely picking our guys. And I'm going to go out here and get one of my guys. One of the guys, when we did our quarterbacks for our podcast, I was a little higher on than what seemed to be the consensus out there, but it's been a good last 2 weeks. So I'm going to throw him up here.
Ooh.
I like this kid a lot.
Who did the computer just take?
Riley Ferguson.
Who? Is that a punter?
I think he writes for Dynasty Trade Calculator.
Oh,
I'm
good
not.
for him.
Oh no, that's Riley Bymaster. My bad. No,
Close enough.
Is that
I
the
would
Memphis
give Riley
kicker?
Who is that? A tight end? What is that?
it's
It's
a
a QB?
quarterback. It's
For
a
where?
quarterback. So the AI must have them ranked pretty high. I've never heard of Riley Ferguson actually
No.
going high.
No
in the NFL
college
draft.
listed.
I
They
did
say
not-
he's 6'4", 210, 23 years old.
He's a Madden player.
Google
He's
this
definitely
guy.
a Madden creative player. But
Okay.
Shane, did you get sniped?
Uh,
Is that why you're kind of all flustered?
no? This Riley Ferguson thing threw me off.
Yeah.
That's
a
what I
lot.
mean. Were you
Like,
going
I'm-
to draft him?
I'm just looking and well, no,
I've
did
done
kinda-
rookie drafts with you, and you kind of get random at points
Yeah,
later on in the
never-
draft.
Not Riley Ferguson, random. I
Yeah,
usually
that's where
draft
he
real
did
people.
play at Memphis, but he is a former quarterback. What
When
in
did
the
he
world?
play? 20,
Yeah,
did
I
he take
guess.
2020 off? I guess
I
you know,
wonder if he's like
He
a
took
position
2018
change.
off too.
he took
2018,
2018, 19,
He
and
was an
20.
19
undrafted
and 20.
pick. He was an undrafted signing by the Buccaneers. I knew I remembered his name. There's a there's a kicker in the draft from Memphis with the first name Riley, and so that's what threw me off. But yeah, okay. I guess they were like, there's nobody else left.
All right. I mean, we got another quarterback in the third, Jamie Newman, Tamorian
Oh,
Terry.
you took my guy.
Not Kyle Trask finally got drafted by someone.
Wanted
Yeah.
Terry.
I mean,
right. Good pick.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about the quarterbacks getting drafted, but I mean, there's one that I think is a steal, and the computer picked it.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys are going to take the guy I'm going to take it for, so I'm going to take somebody else at 3.
You know, I gotta say, I absolutely love the fact that the computer doesn't even listen to the rules I set and not being able to draft a NFL player. But you know what? The computer does what it wants. So that's what we'll kind of go with. I mean, we got Riley Ferguson and Sam Solomon, a kicker.
Oh, did take a kicker?
It took 2 kickers. So I mean,
There's always that guy that takes a kicker early, but geez, come on.
I thought
I have
about
a
it.
home league.
We don't
I
even
have a
have.
home league.
Yeah, who
that-
set these rules up? Because I don't remember having any leagues with kickers in them anymore.
Like I told you guys, I am not here for the brains. I'm
No,
not here
I'm
for
in
the
a
brains.
league with that Mike Clay runs, and we actually use punters, we use kickers. It's the full deal, and defense, it's IDP, but we go into the individual spot. It's deep, real
Okay.
deep, and we go 7 rounds into the rookie draft, and I took a punter last year in the 7th round. Just because, I had dropped my punter before the draft anyway, just to have a legal roster, but that's about the only way I could justify it.
Yeah, it's an interesting pick. It's a bold. I have a friend in a home league that every year just seems to take a kicker that goes the highest in the draft. And I'm sitting here like he took a kicker over Deontay Johnson in a rookie draft a couple years back. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, come on. But I
I
mean,
couldn't even tell you a rookie kicker's name. I don't even learn kickers' names until their 3rd year in the league, because then I know, all right, they're probably going to make it, and I don't have to cut him every other week and pick up a new guy.
I
Well,
mean, every other
my
week in the
defense-
NFL.
In my
Yeah.
defense, I was 3 years. I was the director of special teams at PFF, so I know a lot of the kickers. But otherwise, I wouldn't.
I mean, that definitely helps in a league like Mike Clay's. Let's talk about this draft. At 301, I took Tylan Wallace.
Good pick.
I like his overall game. I think he's got strong hands. People are worried about his drops. What did he run? Did he run a 4.5? Is what I saw. Was it a
No,
4.5?
4.48 was his official time.
4.48, which is perfectly fine for me. His overall game is great to watch. I think he's a perfect wide receiver 2 for a team. And hey, Packers, you can draft him. It's okay. Packers, you guys can draft a wide receiver. It's perfectly fine. Even though I despise you because I'm up here in Minnesota. I mean, come on. The quarterback, Davis Mills, goes at 302, the hottest name in the street. I'm still surprised that he's a 5-star recruit and nobody's really talked about him as much except for the scouting community. And Tim, you have been a big fan of him. Yeah. So explain to me about the pick.
No, he's a rhythm thrower. When you watch his film, he takes his 3, 5, 7-step drops. That back foot hits the turf, and that ball's out. He's making reads though as he's dropping back. He seems like he's a smart kid. Obviously, anybody that goes to Stanford has to have some sort of brain power. But yeah, the kid was a top end recruit coming out of high school. Things just didn't necessarily click, I guess, in college where he was getting highlighted and really showed off for the nation, especially when you got guys like Trevor doing what he's doing at Clemson. It's tough for some of these other guys to get the attention that maybe they deserve. So I really think Davis is a very quality quarterback. He's got a lot of tools. He's not going to come into the league and be a starter right away, but he can be a quality backup to start his career. And given a couple years with a decent quarterback coach, hopefully, I think he could be a guy that progresses into a decent enough starter in a super flex league. I'll take a guy that I think can be a starter someday in the 3rd round.
I like it. And once again, we'll talk about Riley Ferguson and how he went for some odd reason. That's the same team that took Najee at 103. So maybe they're just drafting based off names.
ADP,
I don't know.
Apparently, yeah.
ADP.
Hey, I don't hate their picks though, Najee and Rondell. I mean, they're decent, but then
you got to get that quarterback, right?
Yeah.
They were clearly drinking.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm drinking.
There's always that guy.
There's always that guy. I mean, there's always a guy who wants to draft Teddy Bridgewater and actually writes his name down after not realizing he was drafted a couple of picks before him. Yeah. I'm going to point at me.
Can't find the stickers. He's like, the stickers, but I'm going to write this in. And you're like, dude, he was drafted.
Well, the guy said, who the hell's Riley Ferguson? And somebody goes, did you say Riley Ferguson? Is that you want? And he goes, yeah, whatever. Put him on the board.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I just do this for fun. We're going to go to Shane's pick at 304. And that is the big man himself, the Alshon Jeffrey clone, Seth Williams, who actually performed better on his pro day than I thought he would.
Yeah, he ran a 4.5, which is.
So that is like a 4.7 in the combine, apparently.
It'd probably be, depending on who you talk to. Remember, you at least 0.5 or 0.7 seconds to anyone you don't like.
That's true. And if you do like him, you actually take off
a full second.
That's true. Yeah.
So he actually ran a 3.5, which is impressive for a guy his size. But no, I mean, he ran a 4.5, whatever. It's just good to know that he's got enough speed. I don't, he's not going to be a burner or anything, but he's so good. I think he's so underrated. He's a guy. I hope he gets drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round so I can draft him, because if it falls beyond that, I'm not going to touch him. Wes hasn't done a write-up on him yet, though, I don't think. I've read all the other ones, but I haven't read anything on Seth. But
he's
I love
busy drafting kickers, Shane. We've already talked about this. We've already gone back to it. Seth Williams at 304. I imagine him being a late 2nd round pick. Or, a 303 type pick ahead of you. But the next pick at 305, Kadarius Toney, the hot name on the street. He's the gadget guy from Florida, the late bloomer. Wes, you are sitting there kind of chuckling a little bit. Have you read up on Toney, done anything on Toney?
Love this kid. He was a gadget guy coming out as a quarterback in high school, but when the crazy thing about him is, before he ran his 4.38, he had a hitch in his run. Something was going on with him his first couple of years at Florida. I don't know what was up with his technique, but he had a hitch in his step. And I really think it led to, I don't know what it was. He had a 4.69 coming out of college, coming out of high school, coming out of Blunt. And, so he didn't really blow everybody's.
I think I know what the problem was. He had one shorter leg than the other. So they just needed to get like an insole that could make up that space in his step.
Huh. I mean, I'm really true. Or you're not just messing with me?
I am messing with you.
I'm a dry humor guy, so it takes me a minute to catch up with the joke. But yeah, I mean, and then another thing that you saw is, I mean, he was lost on his route running his first couple of years. Then he came out his junior year, and it was like we actually started to see something with the guy, and he started actually running some real routes. And then he got hurt, right? And then he comes out but you know, it doesn't hurt that he's training with Kyle Pitts, you know, this guy that's the next level generation type athlete, and it just made him better. And then that's something we saw with like Michael Carter, Javonte Williams, just practicing and playing side by side with somebody, making them better, forcing them. Hey, you know, you think you're good, you're not as good as you think. And that's where Tony was. And of course, it also came at the time when they had a guy with a big arm, big quarterback, Kyle Trask. Not that I love his NFL potential, but it definitely helped with both of their developments. They actually had somebody that could feed them the ball. So it was just like just like a perfect storm came together in that Florida offense. And also for Trayvon Grimes, I do like him. You know, somebody later on, not somebody you're going to go after right away, but I think he's got some NFL potential as well.
All right. The next is the high upside quarterback, Jamie Newman, who took 2020 off. He had a lot of hype to his name before he decided to opt out. 307, Tamorian Terry. A lot of people like him. I personally think he is the biggest upside and the biggest waste of a pick. It's going to be one or the other. I don't think there's a middle ground with him. But man, his pro day, he showed exactly what he could do. Bob,
he had a better cone drill than DK, so that right there should move him off the board.
I think Tom Brady out to DK there, though.
Yeah, I mean, we could all talk about DK's 3-cone, and we can laugh about it and how he can't run routes and how he's just not going to be able to progress. What a joke that was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not sure why anyone is so down on him.
I can tell you why. It's the off the field stuff. It's
right.
People worried that, you know, it's not, and playing football isn't the number one on his mind. That's probably the biggest hit on him. And NFL teams might see that, and he could be a 7th round pick, or he could be a 2nd or 3rd round pick. And I think that's going to be the difference with Pittman, who I actually comp him to. And that's the biggest hit with Terry.
Yeah, his draft equity will definitely move him up or down the board. And I know Wes was really excited about talking about him. So go right ahead, Wes.
I love Terry. I mean, he was just lauded from his coaches at Florida State that, he's one of the best athletes on the team. We saw that at his pro day. Of course, he's not been able to really put it all together just yet, just like you mentioned, the offseason stuff. But I just love his potential. I snagged him up in a couple of Devy drafts, and just at his size with NFL speed, I'm drooling over his 78-inch wingspan, and I just love this kid. I think he's we've seen kids that do a lot worse with their off-season time than Terry, and I think he's gonna pull all that together, and an NFL team's just gonna fall in love with him because the explosion, the hands. I think he's the real deal. Love him in the 3rd round. It's definitely who I was gonna pick there.
Now, I would not be shocked if Pitts in line and Terry as an X were able to actually touch fingers by just reaching out to each other. That's the type of wingspan these two have. The next pick is Jared Rice. Jerry Rice's brother. I'm just kidding. It's not. But Jared Rice at 3.8. Kyle Trask, I think, is a steal here at 309. I think Trask is closer to Mac Jones than people realize. I do think Mac Jones has a little bit better arm, but Trask's accuracy and his mental game is top notch, in my opinion. When I watched film, I love Trask and the way he operates. He would fit so good in that New Orleans style offense, which, I mean, we heard today that New Orleans is very interested in him as a long-term replacement for Drew Brees. And I mean, can he be Drew Brees? Probably not. But does he play like him? Yes, I think so. And the late Drew Brees arm strength wasn't there. Kyle Trask definitely has a better arm strength and can definitely throw it past 30 yards, unlike Brees could this past year. We had 2 kickers go. We don't need to talk about that. And now, and once again, Wes, a steal of the draft. Actually, a player I was thinking about taking at 301, but I knew Tim would bash me on because I wasn't a huge fan of his tape originally, but there are some smart people out there that think that Dyami Brown is a player that we should be drafting in probably the early second, mid-second round in a rookie draft.
Well, before I get to Dyami, I mean, I love Kyle Trask's arm, one of the biggest arms. But the major difference between Jones and Trask is, of course, the athleticism. So there's a little bit of a drop off as far as like a team like San Francisco, a Kyle Shanahan type offense, where he's going to ask his quarterback to play action a lot. That's something you're not going to see Trask do very well. He's a low percentile guy, pocket passer, but there's plenty of room for that in the NFL. That not every team is stepped into the 21st century. So,
looking at you, Pittsburgh.
So there's going to be a spot for Trask to definitely step in. So it's just about team fit more than anything with that guy. I mean, with Dyami Brown, man, you look at the situation he was in, playing with the backfield that he had with Williams, with Carter, and then with Sam Howell, who is going to be going neck and neck with Spencer Rattler for the QB1 next year. You kind of ask yourself, was it more of a system and situation type thing? But man, did he blow us away with his pro day. I know there's some questions about, we don't have the laser, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. And I'm all about that, but it is what we have. We have to evaluate the guys with what we have and what we have.
So tell me, I was gonna say, tell me what we got, because I've been off Twitter for almost a week now and I'm kind of out of the woods here. What did his pro day look like?
Well, he's a guy that can play on the outside. So he's got that size, 6'1", 189 pounds. He's not somebody that's going to be, that you just need to view from the slot. Also, he played on the outside at North Carolina. So that's good. 77-inch wingspan. So we're talking about a guy that's got a wingspan that is up there with some of the tight ends, but at wide receiver and at less than 6'1", 6 foot and a half. He put in a 4.46 40, which it's above the 60th percentile, which is my cutoff for rookie drafts. He put in a 6.93 cone, again above the 60th percentile, 38-inch vertical, and 128-inch broad. He's got an 18 bench presses. So I mean, this guy is somebody's going to throw press coverage off his junk. I mean, this guy he's the full package. And a team is going to be able to snap him up, when people aren't even thinking about wide receiver anymore, or they're thinking, we passed on wide receiver, and obviously he'll be on their board, but this is he's going to surprise a lot of people because he's got everything, and on top of all, I don't care about pro day numbers. I want to see production first. In college, I don't care what you do at the combine. You got to produce in college first, and he absolutely did that. So on top of that, he played in an offense that is in years past would be a problem because we look at the air raids, we're thinking, can it translate to the pro style? And well, it's not like that anymore. They've adjusted. They made adjustments. Quarterbacks from air raids can go directly to the NFL now. So I love Dyami Brown's potential.
I love it. I like the pick a lot, and that is a steal at 312. Now let's go to the last round, everybody. I've already got my pick queued up. This one is pretty easy for me. I'm a huge fan of Jamar Jefferson. I like the prospect of him, especially in the 4th round. Give me all of that. Tim, did I snipe you? You can admit it. I mean,
I was on mute, but I said twice that he was at the top of my list. You got me there.
I'm challenging everybody, the computer, to pick the guy I'm going to pick at 412. I doubt it.
Well, there's plenty of kickers left for you and the computer to draft.
I was really hoping you wouldn't take Jefferson there, but I have another running back in mind. I'll take here.
Okay. The computer made a smart pick.
I like the Hunter Long pick.
Oh, I
Number
love
3.
Hunter Long.
Yes.
103 didn't have the greatest of drafts with that quarterback in the 3rd round, but the other 3 picks are pretty solid.
You take that away, and it's a good draft for that team.
Yeah. Hunter Long.
Maybe you know what it is? It's a stand-in. They had somebody else that's not in the
Hey, I gotta go to the
Yeah.
bathroom. Just make a pick for me. I trust you.
That's true. Yeah. No, I like it. Hunter Long. He reminds me a lot of
Who
Hunter.
the hell's
Hunter
Riley
Henry.
Ferguson? What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Hunter Long's my tight end 3. I've got him above Brevin Jordan.
Okay. Yeah. I would probably
Hunter
do
Long,
the
that's
same.
a great pick there.
Brevin Jordan
Really?
to me, I have a lot of skepticism on Jordan and how he's going to translate into the NFL for sure. Hunter Long is just going to be the Hunter Henry style of player, just safe. He's going to find gaps and he's going to be your little blanket, your little safety blanket. So
There's
of course,
another
computer
kicker.
takes it. Another kicker. Shane, I like
Shane,
we'll
another
come
great
back
pick.
we'll come back to that pick. I'm
All
a
world
huge
athleticism right there.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Trey McKitty, is that a real person?
Trey McKitty is a real person.
Yeah, nobody took him, so I'm going to snap him up right here.
Kenny
Elijah
Yabo.
Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell. Now, there's one quarterback I do want to mention that wasn't taken, and
Kellen
that is
Mond, man.
Kellen
Yeah.
Mond. I am a huge fan of Kellen Mond. He screams 3rd or 4th round pick in the NFL that is going to get a chance somewhere.
I
mean,
didn't find out until after the fact, but Greg Cosell comped him to Dak Prescott.
I was going to say
I-
Dak is the common.
Yeah, and that was the exact thing that I saw on tape with Kellen Mond. So
Yeah, I mean, he's got so much room to grow. He's got athleticism. He's not a complete burner as a runner, but man, he can make every throw. Yeah, if he gets in the right system, he is definitely going to shine and be a steal for the NFL team. And it's going to be a heck of a 4th round pick for anybody who decides to go that route. I was between him and Jamar Jefferson, but the value with Jefferson for me was there. My comp for Jefferson is Marlon Mack. I mean, they are so similar to me in the one cut and go type runner, and Jamar Jefferson can go. He is definitely a big hitter. He can hit a home run at any carry. I love his play. I do think he's going to be a first and second down type back. Pass catching wasn't quite there from what I saw on tape, but man, he can definitely do things with the ball in his hand that a lot of people can't do. I love the upside with Jamar Jefferson. Now, Tim, I sniped you. I will say that one more time. I sniped you. And I am always proud to say that. But Tim, you went with another running back that had some major production in college. And I got to give a comp. Devin Singletary, but could he be better than Singletary in the NFL?
Possibly. He holds a single season rushing record there at the University of Buffalo, just under 1,800 yards last year in 2019. The guy ran, I want to say, in the 4.5s at his pro day. His biggest knock is he didn't catch the ball a ton in college, but at his pro day, he showed that he did have some decent hands. So hopefully teams aren't too scared of the fact that I think he had 20 catches in his entire college career, 22 catches, something like that. I do know that he's down in Florida training. I know that Maurice Jones-Drew's been working with him. I've heard him say that Maurice is dropping some gems on him. So hopefully he's taking everything that Maurice is throwing at him, developing and working and fine-tuning his game, because I think for a running back here in the 4th round that definitely produced, given a lower level of college football, come in, work your tail off, and at the running back position, it don't take much. 1 or 2 guys get a busted up knee and going to sit on the sidelines for a couple weeks. This guy could see some carries.
Yeah, and Shane and Bob, this is no knock against you, but in the 4th round of a rookie draft, if you want upside or if you want value swings, which I think in Dynasty we should all look at for being able to capitalize on value, quarterbacks and running backs are probably the 2 that will get the biggest jump. And running backs is because their opportunity could come sooner with an injury or something like that. Wide receiver, it's a little tougher in the 4th round unless you get a player like Shane got, who is a Will Fuller type player. And let's talk about that. I mean, we talked about the Hunter Long pick at 403. We all are a big fan of Hunter Long, but let's talk about Anthony Schwartz. and kind of what he did at his pro day. He showed his track speed.
He run a 4.32, I think is the official time they gave him. It was clocked by Auburn as a 4.26. I mean, he's fast. You just get the ball in his hands. If I'm going to miss on someone, I wanted someone like that, In the fourth round, none of these guys are probably going to hit. I mean, that's what most likely is going to happen, right? But
except that kicker,
except for the kicker definitely will be in the league for the next 25 years.
I'm pretty sure he already is. So, I mean, that's a win-win.
Oh, well, there you go. So he's already in the league. But yeah, no, I love his speed. I mean, you can't teach that. That's just, he's going to, you're going to get him on the field somehow. You're going to let him touch the ball some way.
I mean, you being from Philly, there is a speed guy that ended up being on the field who was drafted in the 4th or 5th round. What was his name?
Which the one? Quez, or was it Hightower?
It was Hightower, who was a burner. He ended up being on the field.
And a lot.
He gained value. And it's because he's got speed.
And he's not very good. But
the NFL treasures speed, and these guys are going to get drafted in what?
I think it was actually Quez Watkins. He was the burner.
Quez was the faster of the two of them. Both of them had decent speed, but and they both kind of hit the field because everybody else there stunk, and everybody else was injured. So yeah.
That's true.
Schwartz could definitely find himself in a situation like that, Like he's going to be a guy. I'm sure you're going to be scouring your free agency waiver wire and be like, wait, this guy's got 30-yard per reception. Like, why isn't he on anyone's roster? And then you're going to look and be like, oh, he's got 6 catches on the year and 2 were for 3 yards. And then 1 was for 87 yards. But whatever, like I said, if I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss here. I'm going to just go for a guy with a special talent at least.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then at 405, we have a random kicker. And then we have at 406, Trey McKitty, who I'm not even going to go there. At 407, we have Bob picking Sage Surratt, who is a kind of a deep sleeper darling in Devy leagues from Wake Forest. Sage Surratt, explain your pick.
He's a possession guy. I see a lot of Larry Fitzgerald PPR value in him.
So you heard it here. Bob compared him to Larry Fitzgerald, everybody. Shane, you heard that, right?
Yeah, we can throw that right into the bad take Twitter. I'll give myself a sticker. He's not. I mean, his 40 was 4.69. So he's not going to kill you with speed. But to me, his upside was too much at this point.
All right. And next is quarterback Ian Book at 408. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'm going to tell you he ain't it. That's all I'm going to say. That's my advice. As a Notre Dame fan, I there's a reason why I'm balding, because I was pulling my hair out by watching Ian Book play quarterback. It is ungood. So at tight end at 409, we have Peyton Hendershot. Anybody heard of this guy?
Yeah, Indiana tight end. I don't think he's even declared. I'm not a 100%. I thought he was coming back to school. So I don't think he's actually in the draft, guys.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't have him on my list.
The computer is really pulling some.
We need to rate and review.
Is this a Devy draft? We didn't see.
Yeah, I was going to say the computer's got a Devy draft going, and shoot,
we should have done that. Yeah, now I got to change some of my picks now.
Little do we know, they're one step ahead of us.
Yeah,
this is.
But they sniped me with Brock Ruder there. I'm heartbroken.
Yeah, 410 Brock Ruder. I have never heard of him. The quarterback 411 Jamar Smith. Another, yeah, okay. I think we're all kind of
drafted last year. I mean, didn't he come out last year? I don't think he's in the draft either, guys.
Actually, I think the issue is they mixed Jamar Chase and Devonta Smith together, and man, what a receiver that would be. Whew. But he's playing quarterback, so it's too bad. And at 412, we have our final pick of this mock, which I hope you guys all have enjoyed. Except for the computer picks, which are terrible. Running back Elijah Mitchell, who has some major upside. So why don't you talk about that upside?
Yeah, so it's not going to be an opinion that's universally, agreed upon, but I have Elijah Mitchell as my RB6 in the class. Now, normally, if I'm going in a deeper rookie draft, I'm going to wait a little bit longer because I can probably get away with taking him in the fifth, maybe the sixth. But and there's a few guys I probably would have picked in the fourth round over him, but I just wanted to make sure that I got him some airtime here, because we're talking about a guy that has he has the potential to be a 3-down running back. He's got the receiving ability. He's next level athlete, but he's also a guy that's at over 200 pounds. He ran a 4.35, 96th percentile at his pro day. At 201 pounds, which, I mean, this stuff is crazy. And a 6.94 shuttle. So the footwork, the change of direction, and then the explosion, 37.5-inch vertical, 128-inch broad jump. But you go back again, all the athleticism in the world doesn't mean anything. I mean, we could go after Kene Nwangwu from Iowa State, who just blew away his pro day, but he didn't have any production, so we don't know what he's going to do actually on the field. But we saw that with Elijah Mitchell. Of course, it was group of 5, but with his athleticism, which is what I want to see. I want to see that athleticism that's just oozing all over the place. When they have that, and they're also in the Power 5, I don't mind. And we saw he did well. He went for over 100 yards against Iowa State last year, which is a tough run defense. So we've seen him, going up against some Power 5s. He had a Senior Bowl invite. The teams are obviously checking him out. We had a combine invite as well. So I mean, this guy's not coming out of left field. He's got NFL teams checking him out. He's got NFL teams wanting to see what his actual numbers are. And man, what he did at his pro day, I think we're going to see him drafted a lot higher than everyone thinks.
Yeah. All right, you guys, that ends our draft. And that will actually end our show. I want to thank everybody for coming on. And you guys, we're not the last show in this whole entire thing. We've got Josh, the Smoke Show. And he's going to be interviewing Will Harris, who is from Viridian Global, who actually has gear. I'm wearing one of their shirts, a CEH shirt. You can get Dynasty Happy Hour stuff. You can get Fantasy Points stuff there. They got almost every single Twitter show on there that you can actually go get. Your favorite podcast will have a shirt on there, or your favorite player. And Will Harris will be interviewed there. He's not just about shirts and swag. He actually knows football too. So Josh the Smoke Show will be interviewing him. Then at 10 p.m. Eastern time, right after the Smoke Show, we have Scott Barrett and Graham Barfield. And you know what they're going to do? They're just going to talk. And when you have two brilliant minds talking, you've got to listen. So you guys got to tune into that. And for us, I want to say thank you on behalf of Bob, Wes, Tim, and Shane. Ben, Wizard, behind the scene, thank you for all that you've done. And Fantasy Points, I am so happy and excited to push this forward on the Fantasy Point Media Group. For me, Tyler from Dynasty Happy Hour, I want to say good night.